If you're in perimenopause or menopause right now and you're eating less, you're moving more, and maybe you've cut back on treats, you're walking every day, you're doing everything you think you're meant to, and the scale still isn't moving, or worse, it's climbing up anyway. You look in the mirror some days and you don't quite recognize your own body. Getting dressed has become stressful because nothing sits the way it used to. You're exhausted, not just physically, but mentally exhausted from thinking about food constantly and still not seeing it pay off. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's this quiet, creeping thought, maybe this is just what happens to my body now. Maybe I'm just going to feel like this from here on. And I need you to hear this before anything else. None of that means what you think it means. I've coached hundreds of women through exactly this stage, and they have all been successful in losing weight, building muscle, and getting their confidence back. So in this video, I'm going to show you what's actually shifting hormonally right now, why eating less and moving more the way you've been doing it might actually be keeping you stuck for longer, not helping, and the two things that genuinely move the needle at this stage of life. Because once you understand what's actually happening in your body, this stops feeling like it's working against you. So let's actually look what's changing hormonally, because this is the part that makes everything else make sense. Menopause is defined as 12 consecutive months without a period, average age around 51, though for a lot of you it starts much earlier than that. And most women will spend around a third of their life on the other side of it. As estrogen and progesterone decline, a few things shift at once. Your insulin sensitivity changes, so your body handles carbohydrates differently than it used to. Inflammation tends to rise, fat distribution shifts towards the abdomen, which is why so many women say weight is landing around the belly when it never used to, and your hunger hormones, and the ones that tell you you're full versus you're starving, get thrown off balance too, which is a huge part of why cravings can hit harder and more often during this stage. None of that is you losing control. That's your hormones changing. This is exactly why I hear the same handful of sentences from almost every woman who I coach through this stage. I don't recognize myself anymore. Nothing works anymore. I'm doing the same things that used to work, but now I'm getting nowhere. That's not a coincidence. That's hundreds of women describing the same hormonal shift in their words. Now, that's the hormonal side. But there's a second thing happening at the same time, and it explains the exact confusion so many of you feel, eating the same or even less and still gaining. Every single year, independent of menopause, you naturally lose a bit of muscle. Hormonal changes speed that up, and I want you to actually understand why that matters. Muscle isn't just about how toned you look. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. It's part of what's actually driving your metabolism, burning energy for you around the clock, even when you're sitting still. So when your muscle mass goes down, your metabolism goes down with it. Not because it's broken, because there's less active tissue that runs it. Same food, less muscle, different results. Now here's the part that actually explains why you're stuck. And it's the bit almost nobody walks you through. When the scales stop moving, the instinct is to eat less, move more, cut your food back further, add in more cardio, more walking. But if you're not eating enough, you're not eating enough protein, and you're not doing any resistance training to protect the muscle you've got, that response can actually speed up that exact muscle loss that's actually working against you. You end up doing more and eating less and end up further from the results, not closer to it, because you're accelerating the very thing that's slowing your metabolism down in the first place. That's not a small detail. That's the difference between a strategy that eventually stalls you out completely and one that actually works with you with what your body's doing right now instead of against it. And I want to show you exactly how this becomes a loop, because once you see the full pattern, everything you've been experiencing makes complete sense. When you lose muscle mass, your metabolism will downregulate. It adjusts down to match the smaller amount of muscle you're now carrying. So the exact food you used to eat comfortably at maintenance is now technically a surplus for your body. Same plate, different results, because your body's needs have quietly changed underneath you. This is exactly why you're eating what you used to eat and gaining weight from it. So what happens next? Most women respond the only way they've ever known how, but restricting without enough protein means you lose even more muscle, which means your metabolism downregulates again, which means the next time you try to eat even a little bit more, your body treats that as a surplus too, and the weight comes straight back on. That's the spiral. Restrict, lose muscle, metabolism drops, eat normally again, gain weight, restrict harder, round after round. And every lap through it leaves you with less muscle and a slower metabolism than the lap before. So if you're eating less and moving more isn't the fix, what actually is? This is where training has to change. Now, Pilates, walking, yoga, they're all great for mobility, flexibility, and general movement, but on their own, they are not enough to preserve your muscle and your bone density at this stage. To actually build or hold on to muscle and bone, your body needs load, real resistance, challenging sets, a program that's progressive over time, not the same light dumbbells you've been using for years. This is exactly why strength training stops being optional through menopause. It's not about doing more, it's about doing the thing that actually works for your body's needs right now. The women I work with who make this one switch from cardio and Pilates to proper progressive strength training 2 to 3 times a week are consistently the ones who see their results move again after months of feeling stuck. Same amount of time in the gym, completely different type of work. And this is exactly why the other instinct, cutting harder instead of eating enough, makes this worse, not better. One of my clients, when she first came in, said something to me which is more common than you think. She said, "I often think to myself, if I just starve myself, it'll work. But it doesn't work." And she's right, it doesn't. Cutting harder is the instinct almost every woman has at this stage because it's what worked in her 20s and 30s, but your body right now does not respond to restriction the way it used to. Cutting too hard just accelerates the muscle loss that's actually working against you, which slows your metabolism down further, which makes the next attempt even harder than the last one. So this is why eating less isn't working for you. And it's also exactly where the fix starts. Eating less isn't the fix, because most of what gets cut when you restrict is protein. And protein is the thing that's actually protecting your muscle mass. Cut it and your body has no reason to hold on to muscle it isn't being fed. Get enough of it, alongside enough fiber, and you're giving your body what it actually needs to hold on and build muscle, instead of just shedding it along with fat. When you get that piece right, something else becomes possible. Not just you losing weight, but changing your actual body composition. This is where strength training and protein work together. When you've been strength training with enough protein behind it, you're building muscle, and that's what actually picks your metabolism back up. You start burning more fat at rest without doing anything extra. So you drop body fat and build muscle mass at the same time. That's called body recomposition, and that's genuinely the goal here. Not just a smaller number on the scale, but a body that's actually working better for you. And this matters for a lot more than how you look, because when you're constantly losing muscle mass as you age, you're also losing bone density. And that's what puts you at a much higher risk of osteoporosis down the track. You want to age well. You want to go into retirement able to move, feel strong, and stay fit and capable. And that comes down to eating enough of the right foods now, not less. So this is why knowing your correct numbers matters so much. But there's one more piece almost nobody talks about, and it's just as important. Knowing how to actually get your body into a deficit without constantly restricting is one half of this. But here's the other half almost nobody does. You can't just stay in a deficit, eating a small amount forever. At some point, you need to reverse diet out. This is exactly what we help our clients with. The exit of the diet. We build up your calories back up over a period of time deliberately, so your metabolism actually increases instead of staying suppressed. You build more muscle, you get toned, fit, and strong for life. You learn how to make this work for your body at this stage of life, not just for the next 12 weeks. So bring all of that together, the hormones, the muscle, the spiral, the exit, and it all comes back to the same place. Your numbers.
Hi, I'm Luann, and I've been working with Shape now for about 16 months, and I've lost around 20 kilos. Before starting with Shape, I had almost given up on losing the weight that had crept on. It all was just feeling too hard. Things that I'd done in the past weren't working for me anymore, and the weight was really stubborn and hard to get off. I thought that this was probably just how it was going to be as a woman in my 50s and going through perimenopause. I tried all the usual things, shake diets, fasting, other programs, but nothing really seemed to stick. Nothing felt sustainable. And it was always about being restrictive and then punishing myself with cardio, which I knew wasn't for me anymore and wasn't a way forward. So working with Shape has taught me so much. I've had amazing support and education from the trainers the whole way through, and I've really learned how to fuel my body properly and work on my strength through really targeted training. The education around food and macros, as well as the focus on mindset, has been invaluable and has really helped me to achieve my goals. The most amazing part of this program, though, is the reverse dieting phase, and I think that is what is lacking in so many other programs. Once I achieved my goal weight, I was guided through the process of reverse dieting, where we gradually increased my daily calories. This is something I never would have known how to do on my own, but it truly is the game changer in the whole process. I've now increased my calories by almost 1,000 calories a day, which still totally blows my mind. And I've maintained my weight now for over 6 months. This has just become a way of life for me. It's totally sustainable. There's no restriction. I never feel like I'm missing out. I travel a lot. I'm very social, and I never feel like I miss out on any of those things. And I think for the first time in my life, I have a real sense of freedom around food and around exercise and lifestyle. And so this reverse dieting phase is just the game changer. I'm now continuing to work on my strength and building muscle. And I'm just setting new fitness goals all the time because I'm feeling so great. And I just love my new lifestyle that this program has given me. I can't recommend this program highly enough. It's not a quick fix, but it's the fix that you need for not only for your body, but for your mindset, that will help you achieve your goals and give you that freedom around food and exercise, and you will not regret it. It will be the last program you ever need.
Now, everything I've talked about matters, but you also need to know your maintenance, your deficit, your full day protein numbers, and knowing how to reverse diet out the way I just walked you through. None of that goes away through menopause. If anything, it matters more because your margins for error get smaller as your hormones shift. Protein needs genuinely go up through this stage, not down. Most women I work with are eating far less than they think when they actually track it. And fiber matters too, for your blood sugar and your gut health, both of which are lacking in so many women. Exactly what those numbers look like for you, your body, your history, and where you're at in this transition, that's what we build out with every woman inside Shape, because a generic number here does more harm than good. If any of this sounds familiar, you are not the exception. I see this exact pattern constantly. Capable women who've done everything right by the old rules and are stuck because the rules changed on them without anyone explaining it. One client told us, "I honestly don't think I'd be able to lose more than 10 kilos. Now she has lost over 20 kilos and eating more food than she ever has, an extra 1,000 calories per day, and maintaining her results. So the muscle and the bone loss that comes with this stage doesn't pause while you wait for the right time to deal with it. It's happening in the background every year, hormones or not. The longer it goes unaddressed, the more ground there is to make up. This gets easier to turn around now, not in 5 years' time. And if you're sick of starting over on this, sick of feeling like you don't recognize your own body anymore, that's exactly what's on the line here. Another year of the same cycle versus actually understanding what's happening and working with it instead of against it. So the real question isn't whether your body has changed. It has. It's whether your strategy has changed along with it and whether you actually know the numbers behind that strategy. Everything I've walked you through here today, your hormones, your muscle, the spiral, and how to actually exit a deficit properly, all of it comes back to the same foundation. Knowing your actual numbers for where you are right now, not a generic number for a 25-year-old body. So if you want to learn your numbers and actually do this properly for where you are at, go and watch this video here. And if you want your training, your numbers, and this whole stage of life actually built around your body instead of guessed at, the application link's below, and you can also get results like these women who are going through menopause too.